terms of lighting, a little bit up, a little bit of light on the Buddha, and some people can actually, if we're going to go live stream, get the visuals. Makeup.
Two out of the 3 recording systems failed on the last session.
2 out of 3.
That's why you had that backup.
You can't make it up.
Can go brighter. You can go brighter if you want.
Whatever's good for the general thing. I don't mind.
It's not broadcasting yet. Is this the platform? Okay, just do it from the beginning. Let me show you how to fix that.
Last one didn't work.
When you finish the board, just hit that little button there to turn it off.
Where?
On the side here. Yeah, when you're finished. Then on the side. Yeah, I'll show you. When you finish, just press that to turn it off.
Is it turned on?
It's on now.
Okay. Okay. So just navigating the various recording systems, which often receive a good amount of comment. So I try to keep my voice loud. I hope it's not unpleasant. So this is what we call group practice week. Actually, a lot of our life is group practice. In everybody's life, there's people in it, and there's forms that we flow through, we move through, which require interaction, engagement, internal processing, resting, pausing, resetting. And this is another one of them. And I was certainly noticing some of these forms. We had a forest work period, which was definitely group practice. There was a kind of open, fluid meeting, and then definitely a focus meeting, and then people moving out into doing what they had to do. And I had a very pleasant evening at the nuns' vihara. Started out as a kind of very open, fluid form, and then focusing on a Dhamma reading. So notice how these forms can change and flow, and vary. Now this one is much more simple, perhaps more linear than most of them, more of the strongly delineated central focus, perhaps less open time. So they can create a certain pressure. When you adjust forms, you are a living form anyway, you're a living system anyway, so that's getting moved into different patterns by how we act and interact. When you're talking, moving around, doing work, relaxing with people, very informal. We call it informal, it's still a form. Energy flows. And then we're just changing the dial. What's it like this, you know? Perhaps some people find it very solidifying, grounding, steadying, like stone and wood. Other people find it rigid, like stone and wood. You know? But there's also space. Most of this hall is space. The stone and wood helps, but it's the space is really, they hold the space, and the silence keeps it, the energy isn't being moved around in the same way. It's kind of, so it kind of causes a very deep reset. And when, you see, so normally our energies would be moving between each other, talking, our work, planning, up into the head, down into the heart, out through the body. And very much, circumstances, we're adapting to that. Now the circumstances just go into quite simple. This, that, this, that, for sustained periods of time. That's a change of energy from what's around us. Because what's around us has become rather more static. It means all the energy which would normally be being shifted and moderated by the external circumstances. No, it's the external circumstances are pretty stable. What's the energy going to do? It's going to move around inside us, isn't it? In our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds. There can be an occasion when it gathers and collects into some considerably potent, regenerative forms, whereby something that starts to open and extend, something that becomes more stabilized and grounded, something that quiets down, something that releases. Oh, that fidgety thing it's gone. Oh, that which was driving my thought has shifted. I've gone quiet. Oh, that which was nagging at my heart has eased up, because the energy behind it has found a different place to go, a more healthy, wholesome place. Structure is part of our life. In monastics' life, structure is highlighted. We have vinaya structure, community structure. They're placed and we move into those willingly and carefully. They require certain restraints and certain obligations. We also already are a structure, a living structure, which is framed by the body, which is constantly being regenerated and reset by rest and breathing in and out. Body rearranges itself, just as you would, as you know, if you're walking on the reef hard or running, your breath rate speeds up. If you slow down, it slows down. It does it by itself. The body resets, it regulates, and the breathing is a sign of that regulation. And it's not just an anatomical process, there's an energy there. And it's really, this is called the bodily formation. And it regulates, the body regulates its energies. From being high velocity to slow to going to sleep. Energy, it regulates. It shifts the energy around. Because bodily formation is like this, and it does adapt and change, that's a living structure. It's not always the same. It's not something that's placed upon you, it's something you already are, or your body has. And because that's also linked up to the heart formation, citta sankhara, which is our emotions, our impulses, the impressions we have of things, how we're affected, how we feel, how we're moved, inspired, conflicted, joyful, disappointed, all that. That's a heart formation. And when the two are connected, it's possible for the bodily formation to steady, stabilize, and refresh and release the heart formation. The stirring can be settled, the flustering can be quietened, the retracted painfulness can ease up. And the ways that people normally displace their heart discomfort through various forms of entertainment, movement around, thinking of something else, the way they displace the discomfort of the heart is no longer needed. We can, not that we're completely comfortable, but the displacement can occur internally within this very living bodily structure. Gives people who practice this amazing independence, amazing adaptability. To not have to have little comfort releases. Not that I'm puritanically against comfort releases. It's just that have to have them is a problem. And then we get very edgy, And certainly in my life, I want to keep checking out how much of my comfort is borrowed from conveniences and things going well, and how much is it independent of those, because the likelihood is those borrowed comforts will run out. There won't be a thing that I can read or turn to or switch on or move around in. I'll be in this. I want to check that out and, work out those displacements. To be independent, as it is said, without clinging to anything in this world. And this is a possibility. So in this particular form of group practice, bearing that in mind, and go through a reset. And it doesn't happen at the touch of a switch. It takes massage, internal, very putting a very perhaps the rather cryptic Pali formulations, the condensed, almost codes to do with what are called sankhara, translated as formations, frequently translated as formations. I mentioned heart formation, citta sankhara, verbal formation, vajji sankhara, bodily formation, kaya sankhara. And the citta sankhara is the one we really work on, or bring the others around, because this is where, the citta is where defilement and liberation occur. This is where karma is generated, action is generated from this place, impulse, reaction, response, inclination is generated in citta. Citta carries karma. It has not just action, but it also is carrying a lot of old habits, either personally, inflected, or just adopted from the habits of other people, our parents, our group, our tribe, our culture, our friends, our whatever. Or even, things unpleasant have happened to us, have made us rather defensive. It carries these acquisitions, residues. And it's for the relinquishment of these residues, a clearing of past formation, that this deep reset is aimed at. And these old formations, these heart formations in there, they establish what's called the me program. Ajahn Lumpur Dhamma mentioned it the other night, ahankara, ahankara, the me program, which is a set of my habits, my attitudes, my angles, my sensitive places, my things I feel strongly about, the me program, the me bag, the me bundle. That's the go-to in what I refer to in ordinary life. But that me bag isn't really a me at all. Not as a, well, it is, but it's not a fundamental, undying essence. It's a construction that occurs through citta sankhara. Establishes certain modes of behaviour and even ways in which we interpret things. It establishes the particular blueprint for the heart formations. These heart formations are, first of all, we might say the ones that come to us or arise at the moment of contact. Passa, contact, is a formation. Moment of contact, two things occur. One is perception, which immediately gives me a photograph or rough impression what's out there. Friendly, tasty, hostile, important, doesn't matter, friend, enemy, quick perceptual flash. That's a formation, or perception. The other formation that occurs with contact is called feeling, like a little shimmer of agreeable, comfortable, disagreeable, uncertain, wavery. The shimmer starts to occur. The perception creates the world out there. The feeling creates me in here. That's the me program. That's set up, me in my world. They're co-created at the moment of contact. I see things the way that I see them. And other people, surprisingly enough, see it rather differently. I get quite happy and excited about some things. Other people just, what are you talking about? So that's the me program. And when you live in community, it really is quite a revelation to realise that your world is quite differently toned from other people's. Sometimes radically different. And these are even people who agree with each other and have adopted same standards. Things we get offended by or delighted by. The way we live. You know, it's a sort of fairly, not really surprised, but always I find it slightly surprising. I see all these bushes and shrubs and their conditions. Other people don't see them in the same way. I talked to Ajahn Karuniko about, I don't talk to him, listen to him talk about telecommunications. I don't understand what he's talking about. Though he puts it in very simple language, very patiently. And so on. This isn't being deliberately obtuse, it's just, don't get it. You know? And you can work on it. You know? But at the same time, there'll always be those instinctive responses to presence of people and so forth. Very fundamental ones. How we feel about other people. How we feel other people feel about us. How included we feel, how fluent, comfortable, or nervous we feel. What we do to try to compensate for that. This is citta sankhara moving. And it carries on, so from inherited residues. Residues of anxiety, we might say. Or feeling inadequate, or something. Residual impressions. And to clean the sheet, so that the heart would be fresh, open, much more nimble, much more agile, much more joyful, without constantly seeing things through this stained glass, and feeling kind of almost incarcerated in one's world. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana. We chant this. Vijnana paccaya namarupa. When there's ignorance, unawareness, a lack of access to realization, when the heart is occluded, these formations start moving along their habitual tracks, and they program and feed into consciousness. They affect what we see with our eyes, but particularly what we think, the way our minds give attention to, and how. Recognizing mind, mana, is a consciousness. The consciousness is being tilted and turned and inflected and sensitized by these formations. What interests me, I will give attention to. What I give attention to will flood into my heart. As it floods into my heart, I'll be affected and respond. More actions occur. Here we go again. Here's me again. Formations are the crucial piece, the active piece, the piece that carries personal history. The living piece that we seem to be, a living, breathing body, our heart and mind with their own energies and attributes, what we seem to be, sankhara. And it's those that contemplative, once you get through the language into what it's pointing to, that's where they develop their skills, their focus, their resetting, so the ignorance is cleared and consciousness is held steadily, purposefully, attuned, free from blemish. As a function. So formations are the way in which the world apparently outside us takes form, how it affects us, and how it acts as the transmission between the internal, the external, the internal formations. It's a dynamic conduit. Attention is a formation that turns itself towards what comes into consciousness. Intention, the inclination to turn in a particular way. Contact, sense of being touched and affected, gives rise to more intentions and inclinations. So this is how we operate, how consciousness operates. But with the fading, with the elimination of acquisitions, and the stilling of sankharas and dispassion, detachment, this is the deathless nibbana. Stilling of sankharas, not the elimination of them, it's steadied. So we're giving a clear connection, a valid transmission, light, flexible, a joy to be participating. Now, during this session, it is quite a sudden shift from interactive to silent, from a lot of mobility to a lot of steadiness and stillness. You can say it can be very comforting and steady, it can be quite tough, feel pressurized or just, tired. So take your time with it. I do recommend using the body, and don't concern yourself too much, certainly with the thoughts, or even the emotions that come up. It can be, some difficult emotions. Try to just use your body as a structure, a support structure. Which carries energy in it, steady, grounded energy. And that steady, grounded energy just keeps emanating its presence into the movements of the heart. There's that steady axis. It's to suffuse energy into the heart. It helps to steady and comfort it just as a good friend would. Put the hand on the shoulder, calm you, lift you up, just by that. That's the way you use body. And just then we return to sitting position, and whole body, not a part of it. It operates as an entire unit for this living process. The whole thing is alive, not just bits of it. Whole body. When you're sitting, you can feel the base, the upright axis, the span. You want to make the base broad, because the foundation will be stronger there. Sitting on a chair or a cushion, wherever you're sitting, keep the legs, part the legs, so you've got a triangle there. Roll the knees over outward. So the knees, rather than being pointed in, you turn them out. Maybe I've got to go very far. It just helps arrange the thigh muscles to just turn so they actually act as an anchor at the hip helps to support the spine. Something to do with the way the muscles are flexed when the knee's in that particular position. It sends energy into the hip region, and that supports the pelvis. And you've got a good anchoring for the upright axis, the spine. I want to get the spine to be long. Drop the shoulders. You come up to your head, crown. You feel the whole thing as like a triangle, like a pyramid. Your whole body. And long breathing out, in and out. Within that form helps to regulate. We're often top heavy, too much stuff in the head and neck. Stiff neck, tense neck, get manager's neck. Always because the eyes take over, you get manager's neck. Stiff. You want to release the neck, release the eyes, and get the line from the pelvis up to the crown straight without being rigid. Then your neck muscles can relax, shoulders can drop. Relax your eyes, keep the muscles soft, and rely upon the bone. You sit with your bone. Relax the muscles you don't need, and that helps to gain energy to travel. As you readily recognize, any energy of doing will activate the muscles. They're the doers. Now that even occurs in terms of speaking and thinking and emotions. If you get emotionally excited, your muscle tone picks up. If you get emotionally relaxed, your muscle tone softens. If you talk a lot, chat a lot, then your muscle tone, probably in your head, gets activated. It's just energy moves, and it moves across those boundaries, body, heart, mind. Now, so in other words, conversely, we help to relax the face muscles, thinking quiets down. If you relax your shoulders and open your chest, emotion energy begins to quieten down. Pressure, forcefulness, fear dissolve. Relax your belly, nervousness ceases. You feel confident. How much time do people unconsciously put in holding themselves together with a tight belly and a rigid jaw and tightness around the eyes? They're holding their me program in place. If these places can relax, those energies that support the me program can go somewhere else. They go to filling this body, opening the heart, suffusing, joyful, comfortable. So we use bodily structure. It's not by any means a immediate switch, but it's a valve you can keep opening. You have to keep doing it, because when a strong emotional impulse comes in, then things tighten up again. You just keep undoing it. Strong compulsion comes in, things tighten up again. Release it again. That's the way you learn what they are. By that you begin to recognize, here I'm tightening up and getting a bit flustery, what's happening? Just relaxing the body. Oh yeah, there's a bit of the me program jumped in. Asserting myself. Do I need to do that? Maybe, maybe not. In this form, the beauty of this particular form of group practice is you don't. You don't have to assert or defend or convince or present anything. So those little reflex, psychological reflex muscles, the body can release those. Energy can go somewhere else. And it will tend to move towards joy and ease. And then you notice contact. Sight, sound, thought drops in. Boom. Formation. Something's activated. Formation. Perception, feeling, emotion. Could that contact impression, that sense of being moved or affected or touched or repelled, or could that contact impression just ripple through without having to act upon it? And we learn something about that? What we learn is this doesn't have to be a final fixed thing that I have to engage with, I have a position on. Then we can be touched without being gripped, moved without being thrown. And body acts as a balance, steadying. Formations move, pass through. We relinquish the residual reactions. So let's take some time for direct practice. Sitting, walking, see if you can carry that body formation, that body structure with you as you walk. As the world of sight and sound and touch and warmth. You detect it, but you're not reacting to it. Let it brush past you. Keeping your balance as you walk. Sitting with drip, drip, drip of thoughts, like water splashing in a pond. Sometimes a rainstorm Mm-hmm. In. Mm-hmm. Open. Empty.